Return on investment is a term you probably expect to hear in a finance course, but perhaps not in a course like ours. Yet it's incredibly important to understand this in the terms of how it's going to help you achieve product market fit. We want to recognize that when you're deciding what features to develop, there are resources required for each and every one of them. You're going to have costs associated with labor, with equipment, with materials. The return is going to be the customer buying it. And you hope that the features you're building are going to be desirous and they're going to pay for it, but you've got to be thoughtful about how much do those features matter? How do they compare to the competitors? And is the relative expense of what you're going to have to exert on building that feature going to yield a return? Is the customer going to pay for that? The math on it is simply final value. What profit might you generate in year one that you could attribute to that feature, minus the investment of what is going to be your total cost of building that feature. If you expect a $150,000 return that you can attribute in profit to the inclusion of that feature in year one, and it costs you $100,000 to build it, you're at a 50% ROI. How does this look if you map it of return to investment? Well, let's take a look. Here, we've mapped investment on the x-axis on the bottom. Our definition there by way of units is weeks of development time. Let's assume we have a team of 3 software developers. They're going to work on building the thing. For feature A, it took them a week to build feature A. For feature B, it took them 3 weeks. For feature C and D, took them 4 weeks. And for feature E, took them 6 weeks. Now, it might have taken them longer to build because it's in some way better. Well, we don't know that. We don't know, does more time building make it better? We just know that it may have been more complicated. To get a sense of whether it's valuable, we need to understand from the customer on what features matter to them and why. And how do you prioritize those features? If we get some of that information from them, we can begin to map what features are worth building versus ones not worth building. In feature A, that took us 1 week to build it, the customer associated 1 as far as the value of that. So, if we wanted to prescribe a dollar value to that, the scenario here would be that it's probably going to be a money loser. 1 to 1 is a ratio of 1. Maybe it's break even at best. For feature B, the value that the customers prescribed here was 4. If our investment was 3, 4 divided by 3 is a positive greater than 1 number. That's worth building. Let's go next to the 4-week investment row. Well, one of those features, feature C, customer told us the value was 3. 3 divided by 4, less than 1, negative return. Not worth building. For the other feature, D, highly valued. And among the 5 elements that you see here, that was the most valued item that the customer told us about, the most valued feature. 6 divided by 4, positive number, above 1, build it. For the last element, the return based on the customer's opinion of the value was 5. Took us 6 weeks to build it. 5 divided by 6, less than 1, not worth doing. So again, simple example here, 5 features that we're considering. Of the 5, we're only going to build 2. We're only building the 2 where the return divided by the investment was greater than 1. ROI can also be measured beyond dollar values. So among the various programs that I manage is a master's program in technology entrepreneurship. How do we associate and measure the value of what we're doing and ROI of our business and our product lines? Well, it's a service but it's also a service that we can measure incrementally how our investments are performing. We are interested in website visitors. We'll build some products and features for that. For example, in a scenario such as this, we might develop some short online courses. We might develop some online seminars. We might do ebooks and things like that. And we want to know, do those pay off for us? Is it worth, for example, with an ebook, putting together a short ebook, releasing it for free, and spending a little bit of money doing some marketing of that? Well, let's see how the impact might be. We could track number of website visitors to download the book. That would give us a number. We could see how many requests for more information there is about our master's program from the ebook downloaders. That would give us a number of requesters. We could see how many people are coming to our master's information session. We could see how many people started an application for our master's program. We could see how many of those submitted, how many of the submitted were accepted, how many of the accepted enrolled and began paying tuition. And so we don't necessarily want to go down the path and say, well, I've got a product in mind, a suite of educational products I could do. An ebook could be one of them. And I'm kind of thinking about the ebook as a feature within our portfolio. Did the ebook equate to people that paid for tuition? Well, I could do that, but I could also go back and say, well, there are 7 steps before paying tuition that the ebook could play a role in. And maybe I'm getting some added benefit in those areas as well. So again, simple example, just to give you a sense of how ROI might work for you and how you can use ROI as you're thinking about which features to build and which ones not to build.